Anytime, any day. Why not right now? Stop looking up to your boss and start being your own boss. Don't work for paychecks. Work for dreams with no regrets. This is Cracking the Entrepreneur Code. If you have the passion, we'll create the blueprint. Now, your host. You know him from his 7 tips to build the business you always wanted, and now you're about to hear a lot more. Jack H.M. Wong.
Welcome to the other episode of Cracking the Entrepreneur Code podcast. I'm your host, Jack Wong. Okay, so interesting feedback from the last episode, this self-worth exercise. I just want you to understand that it's powerful. So my question for you is, have you done it? If not, scroll back to the last episode and please do the exercise because it is very effective. Okay, now you have established your self-worth. So what is the next topic that I would like to talk about in this episode? Well, your value. It's kind of relating to the previous exercise. So if you haven't done the previous exercise about self-worth, and please stop this episode and go back to the previous one because you'll find this episode more relevant to you once you have done the previous exercise. So if you recall, I asked all of you to do the exercise to establish your self-worth, okay? And now you have successfully established, as an example, $2,000 an hour. So I would call this your value proposition. You believe that your value, based on your experience, based on your skills, based on whatever you have, is actually worth $2,000 an hour. So now you have established a value. So now people ask, Jack, how can I increase my sales? Well, you can increase your sales by a couple of ways. It's all mathematics. You can sell more products, okay? Or you can actually sell more services. You can increase the numbers of clients you have. Or you scale it by having a team. All good. But what is the important point is, well, at this point, I don't have a team. I'm working for myself. I'm alone. So I'm in the process of looking for teams or building teams. That's fine. So you can't scale the sales process right now. So therefore, you can only increase your numbers of clients, sell more products, more services, or you can raise the price of your existing products and services. Now, I don't know about you. When it comes to this raising the price thing, your little voice will come and say, I'm not sure if I raise the price, will they pay me? I'm not good enough, so I don't think I should raise my price. You know what? I'm so afraid of raising price because they will scold me. You see, all these little voices will show up because these are real little voices in my life. So I have gone through a personal process in 2015. I learned this process from one of my mentors, Dr. Nido Qubein. He is the president of High Point University, South Carolina, United States. Dr. Nido Qubein actually ran the university like a business. The fact is, even though there was a global financial crisis 10 years ago, the amount of donation that Nido has collected from the parents, from the donors, is a strong uptrend. There was never ever a decline, no retracement, no downtrend at all. So, oh my God, he must be a very good salesperson. He is. So I met up with him. I got a chance to meet up with him. I was standing in front of the room with 150 business owners. That was 2 years ago in 2015. And what happened was I asked Nido a question. It's the same question that I asked I asked other people, which I couldn't get an answer. I said currently I was doing a tax consulting services and I was able to charge $200 an hour. Nido actually had the eye wide open and asked, what? $200 an hour? Are you kidding me? How many years have you been doing this? I say, you know what? I'm so afraid of charging my clients at for a higher price because I'm not sure whether they pay. So you notice that just now the so-called the little voices were real little voices that I have, simply because I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm just not a good salesperson. So this is what I said. Okay? So Nido actually forced me to do this exercise in front of 150 people in the room. And he said, okay, are you ready for exercise? I said, okay, what is that? You don't ask me to jump, ask me to dance on the floor or whatever. No. It's actually add one more zero behind. So just to give you perspective, from $200, add one zero behind means that instead of charging a client $200, it becomes $2,000. Oh my God. Suddenly, I'm telling the world that I have increased my rate, my hourly rate 10 times. My immediate little voice comes in and said, wow, do you think you will get any client at all by asking for 10 times more? That was my little voice then. And you know what? Well, Nido said, just do it. Just do it by telling your clients that is your hourly rate. That is your revised hourly rates. I don't get how you explain it. That is your new hourly rate. And interestingly, as a result of this process, I have got a very interesting affirmation. Okay, Nido says I'm worth $2,000. Of course, the question ultimately is, do I consider myself worthy of $2,000 an hour? So what happened was that I did test it out with a few clients. Of course, no 100% success rates. But that being said, I was able to secure one client immediately 3 months after this exercise, whereby the client is willing to pay me $2,000 for hours of work. I said, oh my God, it worked. So at that point in time, my subconscious mind basically said, well, I'm worthy because I am now $2,000 an hour. And I never looked back since then. Because the point is, once you have a taste of success, you know what? You just keep on doing more. In fact, you're not going back to the $200 mode right now. Because if your client is willing to pay you $2,000 for an hours of work, then the only way forward is to raise your price. So I learned that in this consulting business, it's not about selling our service cheap. Because if you believe your hourly rate is low, your client will absolutely in agreement with you. So that's the reason why in the last episode, I asked you to look at your self-worth. And once you increase your self-worthiness, you are able to command a higher value. And that's the way of how you can increase your hourly rate as a consultant. So what if you are actually saying to yourself, I'm not worth only $2,000 an hour. I'm worth $5,000 an hour. I'm worth $50,000 an hour. Of course, there is always a caveat. I'm not asking you to talk to your client right now and say, well, I'm going to charge you not $5,000 but $50,000 an hour. Are you crazy? No, you are not. But what happens is that if you are charging $50,000 an hour, you must make sure that the value that you give to your client has to be beyond $50,000. Or else, how do you imagine your client will pay you? So that's why I said that this episode, the word is value. You must give the amount of value that exceeds the price that you will charge, because clients will never ever pay you a price which is undervalued. So imagine the value of your work is only $300. No one will be paying you no one will be paying you $301. So if the value of your work is $5,000, your price that you can charge would be $5,000 or below. No clients will want to pay you above the value. It doesn't work. Okay? So if you are daring to ask clients for $50,000 as an hourly rate, then you must make sure that the value that you give to a client per hour has to be above $50,000, or else it will not work. So that's my caveat. But it's very important, once you establish your self-worthiness, you are able to raise your self-esteem, you can increase your rate, and you can generate interesting results that you have never expected before. The truth is, at the end of the day, if you can convince yourself that you are worthy, your clients will see the beauty of you and will be willing to pay the price that you deserved to get. I hope that this episode makes a lot of sense about the word value and your self-worthiness. And you know what? If your friend is in need of help in this area, this is the time for you to share this episode with them. And please ask them to subscribe to my podcast, because I have a lot of messages that I really wanted to share. Imagine you are able to have all these wonderful messages by listening to this podcast. I hope that your business will thrive, not just survive. Okay? So once again, thank you for listening to Cracking the Entrepreneur Code podcast. Thank you for your support. And if you have any questions, comment, please let me know, and be relentless and raise your self-worthiness and increase your value to benefit more people who need your help. Jack Wong here, I'm signing off, and thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next episode of Cracking the Entrepreneur Code. Bye!
To continue cracking the Entrepreneur Code, subscribe for more episodes and download the Amazon bestseller, Cracking the Entrepreneur Code, 7 Tips to Build the Business You Always Wanted at crackingentrepreneur.com. Learn more about author and host Jack H.M. Wong and book your 30-minute discovery session to overcome any professional challenge at jackhmwong.com/apply.